This is KCBD News Channel 11 at 10.
No matter your race, religion, or political views, tomorrow is a day that you as Americans can fulfill your right and have your voices heard. Tomorrow is a day that you help create history and change the face of the country as you vote for our next president. Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
After a long and grueling campaign, this is it. Millions of Americans are getting ready to cast their vote tomorrow.
And Hillary Clinton is getting help from President Obama in her last push for support before Election Day. Today, Hillary Clinton raced through blue states in her fight to the finish. This is a race like no other, and Democrats are pulling out all the stops to derail Donald Trump and his message for change.
I want to be a president for all Americans, not just those who support me in this election, for everyone. Because we all have a role to play in building a stronger, fairer America.
Heading into Election Day, the final CNN poll gives Clinton a 4-point edge nationally.
Meanwhile, today, Donald Trump again told voters to choose him because he is not a Washington insider, and he's closing out his 2016 presidential bid at a breakneck pace. The
billionaire businessman and reality TV star turned GOP nominee stretched his Sunday campaign schedule past midnight with his typical Trump flair. Today, he touched down in 5 more battleground states: Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Michigan. He tapped supporters from his children Ivanka, Eric, and Donald Jr. to Sarah Palin and Rudy Giuliani to round out his sprint to the finish.
With your vote, we are just one day away from the change you've been waiting for your entire life.
For the first time since 1944, both candidates are from New York and will host what they hope are victory celebrations tomorrow.
Here at home, the Lubbock County Elections Office is finishing up its final preparations to make it easier for you to find a convenient place to cast your vote tomorrow.
We have 38 vote centers for this election, and so a team is going and cleaning out the area, and then another team's coming in behind to drop the equipment and set it up. So it's a very staggered, staged approach so that we can get all 38 sites set up today.
You can text 75044 with your zip code to find your 3 polling locations close to wherever you are tomorrow.
The Texas Tech University Earl Survey Research Lab released its findings of a statewide survey of registered voters on the 2016 election and policy preferences. A majority of Texas registered voters support Donald Trump at 50%, while just over a third support Hillary Clinton. People are evenly divided on Trump wanting to build a wall. 80% believe Hillary Clinton's email investigation makes her less trustworthy.
Voters across the country are visiting Susan B. Anthony's gravesite in New York. They've left flowers, notes, and I voted stickers. It's a tradition on Election Day. Visitors have been leaving the stickers and other messages at her gravesite for years. Anthony played a pivotal role in the women's suffrage movement. She died in Rochester in 1906, 14 years before women won the right to vote.
And stay with us right here on KCBD News Channel 11 for all of your election coverage. We'll have the latest numbers on air and online. If you can't watch us, download the KCBD News app. It's free and easy to download. Just search KCBD in your app store.
So on this Election Day tomorrow, will you need a jacket or rain gear when you head to the polls?
John joins us from the First Alert Forecast Center with more on what we can expect when we go out to cast our ballots. John?
Karen and Abner, you're definitely going to need a jacket throughout.
Thank you, John. The Lubbock Police Department and the DEA continue to fight the spread of fentanyl in Lubbock. This afternoon, Lubbock Police Chief Greg Stevens held a news conference to answer questions about Friday's drug raid and officer-involved shooting. On Friday, the Lubbock Police SWAT team served a narcotics warrant at a home in the 2200 block of 2nd Place here in Lubbock. Police say when the SWAT team entered, 2 people were in the house and shots were fired by one of the officers, hitting the suspect, who we now know is 26-year-old Peyton Wilson. Chief Stevens says Wilson was armed with a pistol at the time. He was taken to UMC with serious injuries where he remains. The other person was questioned by police.
We will be very transparent about this investigation, and we will put all of that information out. However, right now, I want it to be reviewed very objectively, and I don't want to skew or put out information that that may need to be reviewed later by a grand jury or certainly by the shooting review board that we will seat today.
Police say a warrant for Wilson's arrest was served this weekend for possession of controlled substance from a previous fentanyl-related case. Chief Stevens says they did find what they believe to be fentanyl inside the house and is being tested. He says this case is related to the 2 fentanyl raids on October 27th. Police say the investigation is in the early stages and more charges against Wilson are pending. They are also conducting an administrative investigation with the SWAT officer who is on paid administrative leave.
Right now, Lubbock police are searching for a man who has been reported missing. Family members say 33-year-old Jeffrey Hargrove was last heard from on Saturday night. Hargrove is described as 6 feet tall, weighing about 180 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. If you have any information on Hargrove's whereabouts, you're asked to call Lubbock police at the number there on your screen.
Officials say 43 drunk drivers were taken off Lubbock streets following a large-scale operation over the weekend. This is because of No Refusal Weekend, which included Lubbock Police, DPS, the Sheriff's Office, TxDOT, and the District Attorney teaming up for the operation. That number is compared to the 8 or 10 DWI arrests made by Lubbock Police during a typical week. Officers also served 67 warrants during more than 450 traffic stops.
All the police officers that participated were off duty. They came in so that we still have to cover the city, and especially during the Texas Tech and the Texas football game, we had a very busy weekend.
This was the first time Lubbock Police, DPS, the Lubbock Sheriff's Office, TxDOT, and the District Attorney's Office all worked together for a No Refusal Weekend.
A third body has been found in South Carolina on the property of a man accused of kidnapping a woman and holding her in a storage container. Todd Kolup has now been linked to 7 deaths. The coroner familiar with the case says that he doesn't know the sex of the body or how long it had been buried. Authorities say Kolup became a suspect in the deaths after a woman was found chained by her neck and ankle. The body of the woman's boyfriend was found last week, and the remains of the other 2 people were found yesterday and today.
Last night, an earthquake rattled northern Oklahoma. It shook some buildings to the point where roofs collapsed. This was in Cushing, that's between Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Bricks tumbled onto streets and sidewalks as the 5.0 quake hit there. 40 to 50 buildings sustained substantial damage. A number of minor injuries, though, have been reported.
Janet Reno, the first woman to serve as U.S. Attorney General, has died. She held the job longer than anyone in more than 170 years. During her 8 years in office, crime dropped steadily, the first decline in decades. Reno was criticized early in her tenure for approving an FBI raid on a Texas religious cult in which 75 people died. But she won praise for accepting responsibility. She was also criticized for her role in the saga of Elian Gonzalez, the 5-year-old child who was seized from a home in Miami and returned to Cuba in a custody and immigration dispute. Janet Reno died from complications of Parkinson's disease. She was 78 years old. We're following breaking news out of central Lubbock.
Police, LFR, and EMS have all responded to a crash on the Marcia Sharp Freeway near Jones AT&T Stadium. This is a live picture from the scene right now. Police have blocked the westbound lanes of the Marcia Sharp Freeway from Avenue Q to University, and we will continue to update you as we learn more.
Right now, an East Texas man is facing capital murder charges in the death of 10-year-old Kayla Gomez Orozco.
Gustavo Zavala Garcia remains in the Smith County Jail tonight after he was booked on Saturday. Kayla went missing after a church service in Bullard last Tuesday. Police say her body was later found in a well on his property. Gustavo Zavala was initially booked on an immigration detainer.
Jury selection in the case of Dylan Roof has been postponed. South Carolina last year. 9 people were killed, 3 were wounded. In court this morning, the judge said a motion from Roof and his defense team required his immediate attention. Authorities say he wanted to provoke a race war with a shooting. He faces 33 federal charges and could be sentenced to death if he's convicted. Jury selection is expected to continue Wednesday.
Tonight, the Slayton community came together for what they call their second miracle. Isaac Davila earned that name because he's a freshman band member who went into cardiac arrest during a football game late last September.
He is the second student in 2 years to have heart surgery and survive after that sort of attack on the field. And KCBD News Channel 11's Ashlyn Tubbs shows us how a unique event helped him this evening.
There's not typically a crowd this loud at the Slayton High School basketball gym on a Monday night. Ashlyn Tubbs.
Nice to meet you.
KCBD News Channel 11.
Guys are still alive.
And if you were not able to make tonight's fundraiser but still want to help out, we'll tell you how at kcbd.com.
A pilot program is underway at the Lubbock County Detention Center that could change the future for inmates. Lubbock County Sheriff Kelly Rose says the average inmate stay at the jail is 17 days. Enough time to get bored, but not necessarily enough time in for correctional officers to make a difference until now. The sheriff says the change at the jail comes from a pilot program involving tablets, each of which holds more than 200 educational programs.
We can utilize them in certain general population areas where the type of inmate, their classification, charge history, and those types of things make them a higher level candidate to be involved in this type of rehabilitative and reentry programming, and that's where we'll emphasize their use.
Sheriff Rose says he expects the tablets to keep the reoffender rate down and also, in turn, save taxpayer dollars.
One cold front rolled through the South Plains today, and another one will check in tomorrow morning.
John joins us for the First Alert Forecast Center with more. John, what can we expect in the morning?
Karen and Abner, it's going to be a chilly start to the day. In fact, that first front still has our winds out of the northeast.
So wear a jacket when you go out to vote tomorrow.
That'd be my advice.
Okay, thank you, John.
Coming up health-wise, a good reason to take a snoring spouse to the doctor.
We continue to follow breaking news out of Central Lubbock.
Lubbock police have now confirmed that two cars collided head-on and that both drivers have died. Witnesses tell police that one of the cars was driving on the wrong side of the road when it hit the other car. Police, LFR, and EMS all responded to the crash on the Marcia Sharp Freeway near Jones AT&T Stadium about 9 o'clock this evening. Police have blocked the westbound lanes of the Marcia Sharp Freeway from Avenue Q to University, and we'll continue to update you as we learn more.
A sad story, the latest on Daybreak at 5. We remind you tomorrow is Election Day. Polls open from 7 to 7. We'll hear for election coverage after that.